By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what it takes to beat the narcissist at their own game. Let's dive in. Hey friends, Tamie M, Joyce here, Empowerment Life Coach, creator of the Freedom Class and the Ascension Class. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comment section below. And if you're back, welcome back. Thanks for showing up and for tuning in. Either way, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. So let's talk about 10 ways to beat the narcissist at their own game. Number 1, change your expectations. You can save yourself a lot of unnecessary pain and frustration, agony and confusion simply by adjusting your expectations to be more realistic and more in line with who and what it is you're actually dealing with. In other words, don't expect a sick person to behave like a healthy, well-adjusted, reasonable, kind, decent, loving human being. Not gonna happen. Instead, if you know you're dealing with someone who is empathy impaired, lacking in conscience, manipulative, deceptive, whatever it is, tell yourself the truth about who and what it is that you're dealing with based on, by virtue of your experience with this person. You know what you live, right? People show us who they are all the time. Our job is to pay attention and take the rose-colored glasses off and actually tell ourselves the truth. So if you're dealing with someone who is operating from serious negative ego, deeply unconscious, don't lie to yourself about that, setting yourself up for anger, frustration, confusion, and a world of pain. Tell yourself the truth about who and what it is you're actually dealing with so that you can take care of yourself accordingly. When the truth is the person you're dealing with is sick on any level, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, unwell by virtue of their attitudes and their behavior, you know this to be true, and you have no alternative but to deal with them, it can be helpful. This isn't going to sound very kind or compassionate, but my job is to help you navigate these situations until you can find your way to freedom, right? So it can be helpful to picture them in your mind's eye. You don't have to tell them that you're doing this, but picture them in your mind's eye in a hospital gown, little tushy sticking out, on a psych ward, truly. In your mind's eye, when you're dealing with someone who is this kind of unwell, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, unfit, unwell, you picture them as such, it becomes a whole lot easier to not take what they do and say so personally and so seriously. You're looking at them through the lens of the reality of who and what it is that you're dealing with, and you're more easily able to see, discern, and accept that the truth is there's not a whole lot of genuine personal power going on there. The truth is there's not a lot of good stuff going on in there. As much as we wish it were different, believe me, I wish it were different. The truth is our world is filled at the moment, unfortunately, with sick people. And many of us have had to deal with lots of them throughout our lives, right? So our job is to get to the place where we can discern that a thing is a thing so we can take good care of ourselves. That begins with telling ourselves the truth and changing our expectations to be more in alignment with, more in line with the truth of who and what it is that we're dealing with. When we're dealing with someone who is relatively sane, healthy, and well, expect accordingly, act accordingly. When we're dealing with someone who is relatively insane, quite unhealthy, and unwell, act accordingly. Discern accordingly. Make choices in favor of your own well-being accordingly. Number 2, stop reacting. Choose, decide, from this moment forward, to the best of my ability, I will no longer participate in and willingly hand over my vital life force energy to an energy vampire, to a toxic bully, to an emotional manipulator, to someone who needs a scapegoat to project all their unresolved shadow onto. Choose, decide from this moment forward to respond where appropriate, if at all, as opposed to reacting. Now, I know from experience, pre-recovery, this can be very difficult. We are often, especially those of us who identify as being untreated adult children of alcoholism, adult children of family dysfunction, all manner of benign and outright neglect, abandonment, abuse, etc. We are, by nature, highly reactive, right? We live in fight, freeze, or flight, right? We were programmed that way from a very early age. So I get that saying, choose, decide to stop reacting is a whole lot easier said than done, especially pre-recovery. But it's a vital piece if you want to learn how to beat the narcissist at their own game. Find a way. Now, the reality is, if you want to get really good at non-reactivity and owning your sovereignty, your personal power, and the ability to choose and decide if and when you will respond, if and when you will engage at all, this requires healing and recovery. The reality is, we are highly reactive, not just because of how they show up, but more importantly, because of what we carry, much of which is subconscious, in terms of unresolved healing, wounding, and trauma. Until we look at, shine the light of our conscious awareness onto that stuff, we will continue to react like a puppet on strings. So ask yourself, how's this working? Going through life, reacting like a puppet on strings, being so easily manipulated, affected by the noxious and toxic attitudes and behaviors of others, of another. Sometimes it's a whole tribe of others, right? How's this working for me? Probably not very. If you'd like to beat the narcissist at their own game, learning the art of non-reactivity while you heal what is so easily triggered so often, while you do that work of healing and recovery, what you are doing, my friend, is taking back your personal power, becoming stronger, more clear, more grounded, more sovereign by the day, and ultimately bulletproof. This type of deeply unconscious, low vibrational entity can't mess with you when you're in that place. It's worth doing the work. Number 3, leave your ego out of it. Now, this takes mustering up some serious humility, often not easy. It takes self-esteem, it takes strength, it takes courage. But when you can get to the place where you can do this, let me tell you, it is so worth it. Now, when I say leave your ego out of it and mustering up humility, this doesn't mean that we roll over and play doormat. Not at all. But what it does mean is we choose, like I said earlier, we decide whether or not we're even going to respond. We don't react like a wounded inner child or a puppet on strings. We are sovereign. We get to choose. We don't need to have the last word. We don't need to get involved in who's going to win the right fight. We can leave our ego out of it and stand sovereign in our personal power without handing over our vital life force energy and rolling around in the mud with someone who really enjoys rolling around in the mud, right? Dragging us down to their level. When we're able to leave our ego out of it and we have no need or desire to win the right fight, have the last word, I promise you, we are beating the narcissist at their own game. In fact, we're now playing a game that they can't even begin to understand. It's called personal power, sovereignty. It's a good place to be. Number 4, practice using the gray rock method. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the specifics of how to use the gray rock method, you can watch this video here. But suffice to say, it boils down to being the epitome of a gray rock. What is more uninteresting and uninterested than a gray rock, right? So becoming the gray rock in the dynamic with the narcissist is a very powerful and effective way to accomplish a couple of things. First of all, I'm no longer giving my power away. I am sovereign. In addition, they are starved of narcissistic supply. Now, the reality is when we first employ the gray rock method and we're suddenly not reacting, not playing, not engaging, not living our life like a puppet on strings for them to come along and poke at and provoke and prod at will, right? When we're no longer doing that and we go gray rock on them, the reality is things might get worse before they get better. Temporarily. The volume will likely get cranked up a little bit. They want their hit, their fix. They want to siphon your vital life force energy from you through your emotional reaction, your intense high voltage emotional response. So you go gray rock, they'll crank up the volume, but if you remain consistent, reliable, predictable in that gray rock stance, I refuse to play, I am not interested, and I am not interesting, you are no longer a yummy target, you are no longer any fun to play with, and eventually they have to go somewhere else to get their sick hit, their sick fix, their sick needs met, their need for narcissistic supply. They gotta go somewhere else to get that because it becomes clear at a certain point they're not getting it from you anymore. And that is how you beat a narcissist at their own game. Number 5, ignore. When all else fails, this can be very powerful. Many years ago, I came across a quote. I have no idea where even or who it originates from. It just always stuck with me. I love it. It goes as such. Until you can ignore ignorance, neglect negativity, and disregard disrespect, you are not ready for the next level. Success is not for the weak. I love that quote. And the truth is, if your definition, or at least part of your definition of success, is no longer being battered around by the destructive narcissist in your life, then it's high time that you practice ignoring ignorance, neglecting negativity, and disregarding disrespect. There is a lot of power in choosing that mindset and acting accordingly. Now comment below and let me know whether or not any of these techniques will be helpful for you, and if so, which one do you think you're going to start with? And if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below the video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Number 6, don't take anything personally. And I know this is way easier said than done because a lot of this stuff feels real frickin' personal, right? Especially when the person we're talking about is a parent or a sibling or a spouse, right? It feels real personal, but believe it or not, it's not personal. It's not your stuff. How they think, how they feel, how they behave is not yours to own. What's going on with them is not your fault, and it's not your responsibility. You didn't cause it, and you can't fix it, okay? So it's not personal, believe it or not, except what's being triggered inside of you. That, my friend, is personal. So, how they think, how they show up, how they behave, that is not your stuff. What is your stuff, what you do need to take personally, is what's going on inside of you, especially the stuff that is so easily and deeply triggered. That is your stuff. That is very much about you. Very much about the work that you have to do. Very much about the stuff that you need to look at. We have to look at our own internal world, our own internal landscape. And the reality is, until we do, these issues left untreated get worse, not better over time. So you can kick their ass to the curb, divorce them, leave them, go no contact all you want. But if you don't actually deal with what's going on inside of you, that is so deeply affected and easily triggered by this ilk of individual, you're only going to attract more of the same. So again, I repeat, who they are, what they do, what they say, what they don't do, what they don't say, that's their stuff. That is their shit. Like it or not, believe it or not, it actually doesn't have much to do with you, with the exception of what is going on inside of you, what is being triggered, and why on earth are you sticking around and putting your hand up and volunteering for more of the same, more of the insanity, more of the abuse. That is very much about you. That is what you want to look at. That is the stuff that's personal. That is where your personal power lies to actually affect change, if you want anything to change. Waiting for them to change, you could wait 6 lifetimes, my friend. Take your power back, figure out what's theirs, what's yours, what's not yours, focus on doing your own work on what actually is yours, take responsibility for your life, your happiness, your well-being. Everything changes. Who and what they are, not your stuff. Number 7, focus on you, yourself, entirely. Now, obviously, those of you who are parents, you've got children to focus on, we have careers and responsibility and aging parents and all the things that we have to focus on for sure. But if we're dirt honest with ourselves, we'd have to admit that often we spend a lot of time focusing on a lot of others and a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of folks and a lot of stuff that doesn't really require our focus, our time, our energy, our attention. Meanwhile, we're completely neglecting to focus on ourselves. So I'm here to give you permission, no matter your position in life, no matter how much responsibility you have, to carve out the time to focus on you, on your happiness, on your well-being, on what makes you tick, what is your bliss. Focus on becoming, one day, one moment, one step at a time, the best possible version of you. Focus one day, one moment, one step at a time on creating your best life, and then get real busy living that best life as the best version of you. Take all of your time, energy, and attention, and all of your resources, all of that vital life force energy that is being directed to the energy vampire, emotional manipulator, and toxic bully or bullies in your life, take it all back and pour it onto you. Focus on you, your happiness, your well-being, becoming personally empowered, sovereign, and free. This is how we beat the narcissist at their own game. Number 8. Uncover the subconscious pattern at play in the dynamic. Be willing to do the work for yourself. If you don't, no one's going to do it for you. And I promise you, if you don't do this work for yourself, nothing is going to change, my friend. No matter who you divorce, who you run away from, who you go no contact with. We have to figure out what the subconscious pattern is that is playing out in the dynamic. Otherwise, we just keep repeating the pattern. No matter where we go, there we are, right? So if we want this to change permanently for the better, we have to be willing to do that work. A really great question to ask, to dive into, to begin with is, where have I had this experience before? Where have I felt this feeling or these feelings before? Who does this person remind me of? What does this experience remind me of? In particular, is there a match to anything that I lived with regards to my original family of origin, wounding and trauma? Is there some wound that I'm carrying subconsciously, or multiple wounds that are magnetic in nature, subconscious, buried in my psyche, carrying it in my field, again, magnetic nature, that is calling its vibrational match with the same resonance into my reality? And until I uncover this subconscious pattern playing out, until I do that deep dive excavation work, which sounds very scary if we haven't done it, I promise you it's not as terribly scary as some of you may feel that it sounds like, right? Approaching this kind of work. When we do this kind of work, certainly with the support of people who have a clue and know what they're doing, right? And they can be found in all kinds of really good places, right? Free and paid. I talk about that in many videos, so I won't dive into that now. Suffice to say, coaches, therapists, counselors, 12-step programs, I mean, you name it, sponsors. There are options available at any budget to do the work of uncovering the subconscious pattern at play. There's even good books on the bookshelves that you can read that will walk you through. If you don't want to do a formal program with a coach or a therapist or a counselor, you can do the work to uncover the subconscious patterns that are playing out in the dynamic, asking yourself the right questions, up-leveling the old wounding and trauma so you can heal that stuff and be free of it permanently once and for all, and beat the narcissist at their own game. Number 9, create an exit plan. If you haven't done so already, start working on an exit plan for yourself. Like your life depends on it. Because it does. This is your life we are talking about. So no matter how long you think it may take you, no matter how impossible it may seem right now, you can start working privately in the privacy of your own mind. You can start working on an exit plan, on socking away money, resources, hiding keys, making the right contacts, connections, doing whatever you need to do to ultimately be able to extricate yourself from the situation, from the dynamic. If it is that dire that you are stuck, trapped, feeling like there is no way out. I know some of you are feeling that way. Begin, make a start, hold the intention that you will find your way free of this. Again, like your life depends on it, because your life depends on it. This is your life we're talking about. Love yourself enough to begin working on an exit plan so you can ultimately, and hopefully sooner rather than later, extricate yourself from the dynamic permanently. And last but not least, number 10. In the meantime, document everything. And I mean everything. You've got to be smarter than they are, cagier than they are, sharper than they are, one step ahead of them. You know, our tendency often is, full disclosure and just emotional eruption. Meanwhile, we're giving them all kinds of ammunition and all kinds of information that they get to use against us to continue to hold us hostage in whatever the dynamic may be. So, document everything. every text, every voicemail, every email. Keep a journal with exact dates and time stamps. Record everything you can. If possible and necessary, use cameras. Like, go as far as you need to document everything. The truth is, you may never need all of this documentation. But if the day comes that you do, you'll sure be glad that you have it, that you took the time to take good care of yourself. Document everything. The bottom line is this: if you're being targeted, abused, exploited, manipulated, whatever it is, by someone who lands on the spectrum of destructive narcissism, to some degree, you have participated, enabled, allowed. Now I'm not trying to victim shame here. That isn't about victim shaming. This is about helping you take your power back, right? So lots of us as children, long before we had any say in the matter, were targeted. We had no choice. We were abused in all kinds of ways. We had no say-so in the matter. That's true. But we're adults now. We get to choose. And I know that these choices can be excruciatingly painful. They can come with consequences. There can be the mob, whether that's the family, at the office, the neighborhood mob, whatever it is, the tribe of friends, right? These master manipulators are really, really good at the smear campaign and running the negative narratives and turning people against us and all the things. I'm aware of all of this, but the reality is, at the end of the day, if year in, year out, and for some of you, decade after decade after decade, you are allowing yourself to be targeted, exploited, manipulated, abused by a person who lands on the spectrum of destructive narcissism. On some level, you're putting your hand up for it. You're choosing to participate. And it gets to be a new day. You don't have to beat yourself up for not knowing any better or doing things that you do very differently. It doesn't help you or your cause to criticize, blame, and shame yourself more than you've already been criticized, blamed, or shamed. That is for sure, right? So it is what it is. You are where you are, but today is the day where you get to say, it's a new day. I'm drawing a line in the sand and no more. I'm going to find my way out by beating the narcissist at their own game. I am no longer going to enable my own abuse. I am no longer going to participate in this insanity. I am putting an end to it one way or another, starting right here, starting right now. This is how we take our power back, and from that place, everything can change, and faster than you might imagine. My friends, I hope you got some value out of this today. If you liked what you heard, be sure to drop me a like and a comment. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. And once again, if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, The Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. You can also go on over to the website, Tamie M, T-A-M-I-E-M, coaching.com. All the details are there. Just click on programs and reviews. All the details and info are there. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. As always, I will leave you with this. Know your value. Know your value and unlock your freedom. Mwah. Much love. Bye for now.